Calisthenics athletes are one of the most unique classes out of all the fitness classes available in the game right now. A huge number of players that choose this class do this for the reason of learning one ability, and that ability is called the planche. There are many different exercise players can spend their skill points on to achieve the full planche ability, but some are way more effective than others. So here is the official planche exercise tier list so you can get the planche faster with less effort. Assisted planche. Okay, who doesn't want to be able to do the planche before they can even do the planche? Players that choose the calisthenics class can use this skill to literally go forward in time and gain experience as if they've already got the full planche. Now, what other skills do that for you? Very few, so this skill is S tier. Box assisted planche. This skill isn't known by a lot of lower level calisthenics mains, but that's not their fault. This skill takes a significant amount of searching to actually find and unlock this skill and to start learning it. I only found out about this skill quite recently. I've started performing this skill now, but it would have helped me way earlier. A tier. Planche push-up variation. Other players that main calisthenics on YouTube may put this skill higher in the tier list than I have. However, I will say that it does have its place in your build. However, if your main goal is to unlock that full planche ability, then I think there are better dynamic skills you should be doing. And that's for one key reason: you bend your elbows. So if you want the full planche, you can't be bending your elbows. It's a static skill with straight arms. However, with this dynamic skill, you purposely bend your elbows, go as low as you can, and then go back up to that straight arm position. But a lot of the times, people don't do this correctly and keep their arms bent the entire time. Instead, just focus on straight arm dynamic progressions such as planche press negative. These are going to get you there quicker to unlocking that full planche ability, in my opinion. You definitely still should have planche push-up variations in your build. However, if your main goal is the static full planche, then there are other better dynamic skills you should prioritize. However, eventually the full planche push-up probably will come into your thinking, so it's better you start now. But for the purpose of getting that static full planche, B tier. Wall assisted planche. Don't have resistance bands or don't have a pull-up bar to hang them up from? Well, easy. Just do wall assisted planches. This is still going to be brutal for the calisthenics athletes that want a huge increase in their shoulder and core strength. A tier. Tricep dips. Guys, does this exercise look like you are all training for the planche? Not really. It's good for increasing your base level of strength for the triceps, but besides that, you're not really training specifically for the planche unless done in a very specific way, which I might make a video on. But if you're going to mess up your elbows, I prefer you do a planche push-up variation instead, because at least then you will make some progress towards the planche ability. Guys, it's C tier. Progressions. I define a progression as one of the planche progressions, either the tuck, advanced tuck, straddle, or full planche that you have under control. This means you can do it with good form for 4 or more seconds. So if you do it less than 4 seconds, that becomes an attempt. Every point of stamina used on this skill is well worth it, as it gives well more than average experience that goes towards unlocking that full planche. This skill just about beats the assisted planche because no equipment is required. That means calisthenics mains can do this wherever they are, whether it's at the gym, at home, or wherever they can do this progression. As a calisthenics main myself, this is why I spend the majority of my skill points, in other words my time, during these workouts to get the planche. S tier. Straight arm dumbbell flies. This skill is very unorthodox for calisthenics mains. This is because it uses weight, which you don't usually see calisthenics mains using. However, because of this unique use of weights for this skill, that means you can easily progressively overload with it. Progressive overload means to gradually increase the weight, frequency, or repetitions you're doing of a certain skill in your workout routine. So over time, as you get stronger, you can adapt and increase the weight and progressively overload and get stronger and stronger. And some papers have even quoted that once you get to about 60% of your body weight in this skill, then technically you'll be able to do a full planche. However, this skill has a negative trait associated with it. That negative trait is high joint stress. Trying to progress with this skill too quickly before your joints are ready for it can apply a semi-permanent injury debuff to you. Therefore, I wouldn't recommend progressively overloading with the weight. I'd rather do higher and higher reps. Therefore, this skill is B tier. Planche press negatives. This skill is unique because it can be used by lower level calisthenic mains such as beginners, but also can be used by all other levels including advanced athletes. This is because you can use whatever progression is comfortable to you. This skill is also different to other skills on this list because instead of being of the static skill type, it is a dynamic skill type. The dynamic skill type means it costs more stamina to perform this skill, but real calisthenic mains know that this skill increases your range of motion, which overall gives you bonus XP to unlock the full planche faster. S tier. Planche swings and planche pumps. Increasing the time under tension status effect is something calisthenics mains should be trying to increase all the time. One way to do this is by using momentum when you don't have the raw strength to hold a position. Admittedly, this skill is quite hard to perform correctly as you have to use just the right amount of momentum so you're not helping yourself too much and you're trying to hold that planche position when you get there. When you're lower level and start performing these skills, you will drop quite quickly and then use quite a lot of momentum, but as you keep doing it, you'll get better at this skill and you'll start increasing your time under tension and you'll get stronger. So you'll start moving slowly and being able to control the swings or pumps more regularly. Not enough low-level calisthenics mains know about these progressions and it could be the difference stopping them from getting that next progression. A tier when done correctly. Front raises. A great finisher to your planche workouts, however there's a limit to how much weight you can use for similar reasons to the straight arm dumbbell presses. B tier. The dish. The dish isn't a flashy skill, but it does make for a decent core workout. But as I lay there on the dirty floor with my legs up in the air, I do wonder, should I be doing this? Or should I opt for doing something more progressively overload worthy, such as leg raises, L-sits and so on? I probably should. C tier. Attempts. So let's talk about attempts. All well-experienced calisthenics athletes know to do this at the start of the workout when they feel the most fresh and are the most motivated. This skill right here gives the user a massive motivation buff when they see their progress go from a 2-second straddle planche hold to a 5-second straddle planche hold. These little wins are to be savoured and fuel the players of the calisthenics class till their next workout. Players that use this attempt skill will also notice their body adapt and gain a lot of strength because they're doing these progressions with no assistance. S tier. The handstand. Unlike other skills on this list, investing time into this ability will increase your balance stat instead of increasing your base strength stat. But this handstand ability opens the door to increasing the range of motion you're using when you do your planche workouts. This is by being able to perform other skills such as the planche press negatives. In the long run, this is going to be huge for your progression. Not to mention, for those players that choose the calisthenics class as their main, it usually takes over 12 months to gain enough experience to unlock the full planche ability, so you might as well start learning the handstand and it will speed up your progression. A tier. Scapular push-ups. This skill isolates and trains muscles of the upper back that other fitness players of other factions such as powerlifters usually neglect, but these muscles are needed for a good form full planche. This is again one of those skills that can be used way into the higher levels, so if you're an advanced calisthenic main, you need to still be doing these and working on your scapular push-ups. You can make these harder either by how far you lean or by doing them in certain progressions. A great exercise specific for the planche. A tier. Glute and leg hyperextensions. Most calisthenic mains find this skill useful when learning the straddle planche ability. Not the most low-key of exercises, as you have your legs open wide for the whole world to see as you raise them up and down like you're trying to take flight, and other players of other fitness classes may look and think, what the heck are you doing? However, it does do the job. It hits the glutes and the legs of the posterior chain, which a lot of calisthenics players tend to neglect. B tier. Bent arm straddle planche. There's so many other options to be spending your skill points on rather than licking the floor with your legs spread open. Guys, it's F tier. The handstand push-up. A great exercise, but not for the planche. Guys, if you're going to be training your shoulder muscles, then please do planche specific exercises, and I split up my vertical pushing days compared to my planche pushing days. Split these up so there isn't this overlap where you're spreading your strength stats across two different skills that aren't that similar. Guys, it's F tier. L-sit to planche. Similar to the planche swings and planche pumps, however this skill includes an L-sit before you go into the planche move. So this skill requires additional stamina costs because you have to go into that L-sit and first need to unlock that, which requires additional experience. Because of that, it's a decent move, but I would stick more to just doing swings and pumps if the full planche is my focus. B tier. Planche leans. This skill is usually adopted by lower level calisthenics athletes, but higher level calisthenics athletes know how overpowered this skill actually is and will continue to do it as they progress through the levels. So why is it so overpowered? Well, because you get all the feeling mentally and physically of being in the full planche, but with your feet on the floor. That means you can progress it to your skill level, so you can progress the difficulty just by leaning more over your hands. It's a god level skill that increases everyone's base form stat and should be in your calisthenics build to achieve the full planche. S tier. Now if you need an example routine that uses the top tier exercises in this video to learn the planche yourself, then check out this video.